Yo, what's up? What's up, you dude? What's up, dude? What's up? We got everybody up in here. Hell yeah, let's go. Today's gonna be an awesome stream. I've got a lot of shit to get to, actually. I got a lot of different topics we're gonna talk about. We are actually even going to continue reading from The History of Magic, written in 1913. The last little bit that we wrote, it basically says that the magic is being hidden by the Jesuits, the Rosicrucians, the Illuminati, and the Freemasons. And we're going to continue down that book towards the end of the stream. First, before we continue, I just want to let all of you know, I'm so grateful that you're here. If you could just remember to please hit the like button on whatever platform you're on, hit that follow button. Please, I love to have the conversations and I love to hear your thoughts. So if you feel compelled to, please just blow up all of the chats with comments. What's up, Dr. Astro Strange? If nobody's told you today, I love you, bro. I hope everybody's having a wonderful Wednesday. Who do we got up in here? We got Hidden VR. We got Embry Vance. We've got Cobra Kai. We've got Zuchits. Queen Trip is up in the house. What's up, beautiful? How are you today? That's my wife. Just giving her a shout out. She's out in the Matrix, taking on the agents. I'm at home talking to you. I'm currently on Facebook, Kick, Twitch, and YouTube. If you want to join basically where everybody else is at, Team Human, I've kind of had this evolution thing happen throughout my career as a streamer. We started out over on Twitch, and then we started a YouTube, and then we freaking turned on a Kick, and I've kind of migrated everybody up over to Kick. Kick is the spot where at the end of every stream, on Kick only, we'll kind of have a debrief. Maybe if we need some breath work or some sort of meditation stuff, then that's where we'll do it, is over on Kick. I just dropped the Kick in Twitch. I just dropped the Kick link in YouTube. I just dropped the Kick link in Facebook. Pin to your chat. Let's go. Pin it. There we go. I'm going to go like this and go 120 minutes. It will be pinned. I'll pin it to the top of the YouTube chat. Just know tomorrow evening, my wife, Queen Trip, is going to come and join up on the stream. Vines on Mars. Everybody's really over on Kick. That's where really majority of everybody is. We've got 5 people up over on YouTube. I got 6 people up over on Facebook. What's up, Chase Porter? We love you, bro. I want you to know I love you. We've got Carolyn Combi. We've got Nicole Rios, Chase Porter, Ariel Daughtry's up in the house. What's up? If you do happen to click the link to Kick that's pinned to the top of your chat and you come over to Kick, like I said, that's where the biggest group of homies are all at. Just put a green, a red, and a yellow heart in the chat. I'm only saying that specifically because in a 30-day period, I need 100 people. I need 100 people to comment something. Anna Ray's up in the house. Dr. Astro Strange. Anyways, we got some shit to get into today. So we're going to read a portion of the book we started on Monday, but that's going to be later. We have a video to watch at the end after the book. We've got some X clips to discuss after we start with this opening message. If you're here, can you please just start the stream off in a positive manner? I'll do the same. Obviously, you will type it. I will talk it. I type it like I talk it. Kind of like what the Migo said. But anyways, if you could just comment something you're grateful for and we can just all start just resonate in a positive, godlike energy. I'm tremendously grateful for the ability to still provide. And that's not even just in a financial aspect. I'm grateful that I have legs, that I can walk, and that I still have the capacity to even exercise to get my health back in order. Because some people don't even have the ability to do certain things because of certain ailments they might be living with. I'm grateful that I have become aware that I need to not consume coffee all day long and that I've actually started drinking more water. I'm grateful that my wife, Queen Trip, who's in the house on Kick, she goes out into the Matrix every single day and works her ass off for her family. And sometimes I tell her a lot, but sometimes it's just needed to be heard that I appreciate her so much. I'm so grateful that she goes and grinds every day while I'm able to every day stay here and try and build something to where one day, the real flex, you know what I mean? The real flex, homie, that's retiring my wife, make it so my wife don't have to work no more, bruh. That's what the goal is. What's up, everybody? You guys ready for this? You guys ready for today's mindful message? Because at the beginning of every stream, I'm just telling you straight up, I want to be able to provide something potentially for you that you can take with you if you close out of the video or close out of the app. before we even go down all the rabbit holes and talk about all the crazy stuff there is today to be talked about. You know what I'm saying? Nicole Dean, what's up? Marie Moon, Kelty's up over in here. Let's go. What's up? Great. Let's see. What do you guys? Grateful for my girlfriend. Always. Grateful for my cousin, my family, and the friends that I have. Absolutely. I'm grateful for creativity, trying to be better and tapping into that more. Fuck yeah. I'm grateful for my health and what I have left and that I'm mostly functional. I'm grateful for my daughter and that it's my last semester. I'm grateful for my dogs, bro. Dogs, man. I'm telling you, there's like some unconditional love that comes with having with pets, bro. And there's not even, do I got some pet owners in here? Who are pet owners? Poop emoji if you're a pet owner, because when you have pets, bro, there's a love that comes from pets that I can't even familiarize with any other energy across the entire cosmos. I'm grateful for my life and everything and everyone in it. Absolutely. I'm grateful to be free and able to be a present father. Absolutely, Adrian. I'm grateful for my fur baby. Adrian, I love you, bro, and I'm proud of you. I want you to know, bro, you can do anything you set your mind to. Me and my homie Adrian, who's up over here on Facebook, we've been through it, bro, together. Ups and downs, goods and bads, bro. And I just want to tell you, bro, I love you, and I see you, and I know you can do hard things, bro. And where your attention goes is where energy is going to flow, homie. I'm also grateful for Team Human. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Kids are the best. All right. You ready for today's mindful message? I don't really know if you guys are ready for what's happening. All right. Cheers. The most dangerous thing that you can do when you're hurting is to abandon yourself just to make the pain stop. Because this is what so many of us were taught to do. The moment we feel rejected, overwhelmed, lonely, angry, afraid, we reach for something that's outside of ourselves to make it go away. We text a person, we over-explain, we shut down, we scroll, we numb, we people please. We call someone and ask them to tell us who we are because in that moment, we have forgotten how to stay with ourselves. But your emotion is not an emergency. It's actually an invitation, bro. It's an invitation to come back home to yourself. And if you're ready to stop abandoning yourself in the moments that you need your own love the most, you can just comment the words, I stay. Because maybe you have spent years believing that you're too emotional. Maybe you've been called sensitive. Maybe you've been told that you overthink. Maybe you've been made to feel like your sadness is inconvenience, your anger is dramatic, your needs are excessive, or your tears make people uncomfortable. After hearing that enough times, you may have started apologizing just for simply being human. You learned to say, I'm fine, when you were not fine. You learned to minimize your own pain just so people wouldn't leave. You learned to hold your anger in because you were afraid of being seen as difficult. You learned to disconnect from yourself because no one taught you how to sit with what you were feeling. But hear me, please hear me. You're not too emotional, bro. You were just never taught to stay with yourself while you feel. When you do not know how to hold your own self through sadness, fear, grief, disappointment, rejection, or loneliness, those emotions come up and then they feel like emergencies. When those feelings feel like emergencies, automatically you're going to look for an escape. It's inevitable. You reach for a person. You reach for a distraction. You reach for a habit. You reach for the same old pattern, even when the pattern has been hurting you. But your emotions are not here to destroy you. They are here to tell you something. Anger may be telling you that a boundary has been crossed. Grief may be showing you how deeply you loved, how much you hoped, and how what you deserved, but you didn't receive it. Loneliness may be reminding you that you are craving real connection, not just attention. Anxiety may not be proof that something terrible is about to happen. It may be your body asking for rest, reassurance, support, and a moment to return to the present moment. And when you have been living in survival mode your entire life, I did. It can be so hard to even tell the difference because survival mode teaches you to expect the worst. It teaches you that you have to stay alert at all times. It teaches you that you have to overanalyze every message, every tone, every change in someone's energy. It teaches you to mistake chaos for chemistry because chaos feels familiar. It teaches you that peace is boring, silence is suspicious, and stillness means something must be wrong. But peace is not dangerous just because it's unfamiliar. Stillness is not emptiness. A healthy connection is not less meaningful simply because it doesn't make you anxious. A calm life is not a small life. Sometimes a calm life is the first sign that you are finally safe enough to even hear yourself. And that's where real healing begins, bro. Like real healing, not this like fake internet bullshit where people like try to tell you how to heal yourself. Healing does not begin when you become a person who never feels pain. Healing does not begin when you are perfectly calm all the time. Healing does not begin when you learn how to sit beside yourself. Sorry, healing does begin when you learn how to sit beside yourself in the moments that you once would have abandoned yourself. Let that sink in for a second. Healing begins when you learn how to sit beside yourself in the moments you once would have abandoned yourself. So the next time you feel overwhelmed, pause for a second before you text the person who has been confusing you. Pause before you decide that you're unlovable because someone didn't respond in a way that you hoped. Pause before you criticize yourself simply for just getting emotional. Put your feet on the floor. Look around the room. Name a few things that are here with you. And then take one slow breath in and then an even slower breath out. You could place your hand on your heart, your chest, or your stomach, wherever you feel the need of your own presence, and then ask yourself, what am I actually feeling right now? Not what should I feel, not what would make sense to everyone else, not what do I need to do so someone will validate me. Like, what am I really feeling? Maybe it is hurt. Maybe it's real fear. Maybe it's sadness or disappointment. Maybe it's grief for the version of you that had to become strong before they even got to feel safe. Whatever the answer is, bruh, there's no rush to make it disappear, bro. Just be honest. You can say, and so many people have a hard time even saying these things, is that I'm feeling hurt right now. I'm feeling afraid right now. I'm feeling rejected, overwhelmed. I'm feeling lonely. And then tell yourself, as silly as it may sound, even out loud to yourself or in the mirror, I am here and I'm not leaving myself in this moment. That is self-love in real time. Not some like aesthetic version. Not the version that only texts, or not the version that only exits when you feel confident, productive, rested, attractive, and spiritually connected. Real self-love is staying with yourself when you feel triggered. It's refusing to shame yourself just for simply experiencing what humans experience. It's in the understanding that discomfort doesn't always require self-abandonment, and maybe no one modeled that for you. Maybe you watch people explode, avoid, shut down, manipulate, disappear, pretend nothing happened. Maybe you were taught that the only way to be loved was to be easy, useful, agreeable, quiet, and okay. But you're allowed to learn something different now. You're allowed to become a safe place for yourself. You're allowed to feel anger without becoming cruel. You're allowed to feel sadness without believing that you're going to be sad forever. You're allowed to feel anxiety without allowing anxiety to make every decision for you. You're allowed to want comfort without returning to the people, patterns, or places that require you to abandon yourself. I hope this landed somewhere, because you can miss someone and still not go back. You can love someone and still choose yourself first. You can feel afraid while moving forward. You can be heartbroken and still protect your peace. Your feelings deserve to be honored, but they don't get to decide your self-worth. They don't get to decide what boundaries you hold. They don't get to decide your future. The moment that you stop needing someone else to rescue you from your own emotions is the moment that you begin to remember your own power. And if you're choosing to become your own safe place, you can comment the words, I return, because feelings move. They rise, they peak, they pass. They do not have to solve every feeling. You do not have to solve every feeling. You do not have to turn every feeling into a decision. You don't have to act on every feeling. You can just simply witness them, bro. You can breathe through them. You can allow it to be there without letting it run your entire life. That's emotional maturity. It's never about not feeling things. It is feeling without handing the steering wheel to the feeling. And this is where like self-trust like actually starts to begin. Self-trust does not begin when you have all of the answers. It begins when you can learn to have a hard feeling without destroying your life, chasing someone's approval, betraying your own needs, or making a decision that you know you're going to regret tomorrow. Every time you stay with yourself, you create evidence to trust yourself, evidence that you can hold yourself, evidence that you can survive uncertainty, evidence that you don't need to run from your own heart. And eventually, you stop needing every other person to tell you what is true for you, because you have become someone who listens on the inside, someone who knows how to pause, someone who knows how to choose themselves, someone who knows their feelings deserve compassion, but not complete control. So today, make a new agreement with me and yourself. When discomfort comes, you're not going to immediately abandon yourself, bro. When you feel rejected, stop begging or feel the need to beg someone else to prove your worth. When you feel lonely, don't confuse familiarity with safety. When you feel angry, listen to the boundary underneath it. And when you're afraid, it's simple, bro. Just return to your breath, your body, your truth. The part of you that is still here, still fighting, still knows that there's more to this. Because the goal is not to become a person who never feels deeply. The goal is to become a person who doesn't abandon themselves and understands that everything they do is going to create emotions. You're allowed to be a safe place for yourself, bro. You're allowed to come home to yourself, and you're allowed to stay. I love you, Team Human. Shit it. Shit it. I don't know. We can get some fires in the up in there, bro. Can we get some fires? Because I think that one was fire, bro. Fire everywhere up in the chats, bro. That was fire, bro. Let me just take a little sipperooski of my drewski. I don't know. There's some times where I'm just like, Gluck it. That was gas. All right, so everybody's at. Okay, we've got some people up over here on YouTube. We've got 5 people on Facebook. We got the whole squad up pretty much all up in Kick. Monica, I see you on Twitch. What's up, Kelty? There should be a link that's pinned to every single one of your guys' chats that will take you over to Kick. If you wanted to come up over where everybody is chatting in, you can see them on screen and then respond from a different platform if you choose. But it would just be easier if everybody just went over to Kick and everybody was just up in the chat. You know what I'm saying? Nina, what's up? Karen, I see you. Lilia, what's up? Adrian, everyone still here? If you do go to Kick, please, it would help me a lot if you went over to Kick and just put some red, green, and yellow hearts in the chat. A goal that I have is I need to reach 100 individual chatters in the Kick chat. The link is pinned. What's good, Michael? I'm glad you're here, bro. Do me a favor and hit the link that's pinned to your top of your chat. I don't know if you use Kick, but my goal is to grow Kick and YouTube. You know what I'm saying? So I just need like 100 people in Kick to chat one time in 30 days. That's it. 100 different ones so I can move on. One of the goals I have to have is have an average viewership of 50 people. I have never even reached 50 total people. So we're in it for the win it. We're in it for the win it. Bro, we got some shit. We got some shit to look at. Okay. And then, my kind sir, we are going to read a little bit of a book, watch a little bit of a video. At the end of the stream will be a Kick only thing. So that's another reason why I want to bring you over to Kick, is because then you could watch the whole stream instead of at the very end of when I'm like, all right, guys, we're going to be on Kick only, which is like the last 30 minutes so I can get more intimate, more conversational, directly speak to you guys. That's one reason why at the end of every stream, it is like a little portion, 30, 45 minutes of just Kick. That's where we do some breath work and some meditation. So if you're interested, just make sure you head on over to Kick. But let's get right up over here to X, bro. Let's get right up over here onto X, bro. Look at this. Saint Agatha's skull. Like her actual skull, bro. In her head. You know, like the one that holds Saint Agatha's brain. Returns to its bust in Catania, Italy, as Cardinal Parolin bows and kisses the relic. You remember how when we were watching some Mind Unveiled stuff, bro? Post it again? Okay. You remember how when we were watching Mind Unveiled stuff, they were talking about how fucking Mary Magdalene's skull is kept in France, bro? Check this video out, bro. It's kind of crazy. All right, Lilia. I posted a new link to Kick in the Facebook chat. Check this out. This is wild, bro. Did homie just kiss a fucking skull? That's weird, bro. Let's run that back. Homie just kissed a skull, bro. I don't know about you, bro, but that feels like some weird ass fucking ritual, bro. Just for everybody who doesn't know, I'm just gonna verify the claim that I did just say. KD Cleo, I love you. My heart goes out to you. We've meditated and done breath work together, right? So that means that everyone in this chat right now that has done breath work and meditated with us, all of our particles through the quantum physics theory of superposition and entanglement means that our particles are entangled, and then if my particles are affected, your particles are affected. So if everybody could also with me just think and say something sweet to Kate. We love you, Kate. I love you. We're just sending love out to you. And through quantum physics, I hope that I've provided to you enough evidence to know that your particles, you know what I mean? There's going to be positive electric love light energy sent your way from not me, but a bunch of other people, bro. A bunch of other people, bro. Real quick, though, for everybody who doesn't know, it's true, isn't it, that they parade the skull of Mary Magdalene, Jesus's right-hand woman or first disciple, through the streets of France.
From what I found, in the town of Saint-Maximin-la-Sainte-Baume in southern France, there is a tradition of carrying a relic believed to be the skull of Mary Magdalene through the streets each year on her feast day, July 22nd. The skull is kept in a golden reliquary in the basilica dedicated to her, and the procession involves music, prayers, and a large gathering.
Now that we've seen this, let's just go up over here and just look at her. Just look at it. Would you look at that? Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Would you just look at it? Yeah, can you please find me some images of the ceremony or parade in France that supposedly Mary Magdalene's skull is being paraded through the streets? Would you just look at that? Shout out Ed Bassmaster. If you know, you know. You might not know. Weird. It's Mary Magdalene's skull. Like Jesus' wife. She was also a witch. People are going to hate. People are seeing this later. They're probably going to trip on me for that one. But if you know, you know. We can get some poop emojis if you resonate with what I'm saying so other people can be like, wait a second. Mary Magdalene was a witch? Oh, yeah. I'm like the Magi who followed the North Star to Jesus' birth actually used magic from the symbol, the pentagram. Weird. The Magi, yeah, the wizards that brought freaking alchemical ingredients to the birth of a homunculus. Oh, these rabbit holes go deep, bro. Sorry, I just had a little mental crash out right there for a second. Homunculus. All right. Yeah, that's weird, right? I just wanted to give a shout out. Real Bays, friend of the show. If you didn't know, I was on Real Bays' show a few weeks ago. Hopefully we're on there again soon. But he just said, it's kind of crazy. We can go to this clip. It was a Real Bays clip, so because I just wanted to give him a shout out. We'll hit the link, bam, right here. You know what I mean? Hit the like button. Throwback to when Rabbi Shmuley sips Christian's blood in a Candace Owens Jew costume. What?
Dressed up as a Candace Owens Jew. Now this is.
I'm dressed up as a Candace Owens Jew.
I am dressed up as a Candace Owens Jew. Now this is not a Christian child, it's a Jewish child. But if it would be, I got my Christian blood. Mmm, spicy, delicious. I got my Jewish nose. I have filth, because Jews are all filth. And more than anything else, what does Amy have? Money! I am dressed up as a Candace Owens Jew. Now this is not a Christian child.
Okay. I don't say these words very often. Maurice, what's up? Maurice, what's up? If you want to, make sure you hit the link to Kick. Come over to Kick. That's where we're at, dude. I'm just trying to build my Kick. I'm sorry I'm saying it so much. But I never say this word, bro. But I can't get past it, dude. I fucking hate Rabbi Shmuley, bro. I think he's a vile, disgusting human. And no, it's not because he's a fucking Jew. I just don't like the person he is, the way he carries himself, how he talks to people, how he just thinks that he's superior to all the goyim. I just don't fucking like him, bruh. Oh, they're drinking fucking Christian blood. Weird, huh? Scotty Wheel is in the house. What's up, Scotty? Scotty doesn't know that Fiona and me do it in my van every Sunday. She tells him she's in church, but he doesn't know that she's on her knees. And Scotty doesn't know. Whoa, Scotty doesn't know. Come on, please tell me someone knows. Please, someone tell me someone knows that video, bro. Anybody know what movie that's from, bro? Come on. Anybody? All right. So we're going to watch this little Joe Rogan clip, but it says we're going to read it and then watch it. Okay. Joe, dude, can I bring you in close for a second about freaking that about Euro Trip? It's Euro Trip. Is it not road trip, Euro Trip. Bro, when I freaking was in high school, bro, one of my homies' houses that we would always go and freaking slough to, we would like chill in his basement and just like smoke pot and stuff, you know, and just like be cool because we were like sloughers. Or I don't know. But we would chill in this room a lot at his house. And this movie, Euro Trip, was literally the only movie he had. It was like back in the day where, you know, we didn't have you had to have an antenna and shit, bro. Okay. You had to have like a cable box to like Comcast or fucking Dish Network or whatever. And he didn't have that, dude. All we had was a freaking DVD player and one movie, Euro Trip. And so it would just play over and over and over and over and over again. It's imprinted in my mind, bro. Okay, but let's check this out. Joe Rogan was just left at a loss for words when consciousness researcher Thomas Campbell revealed that his Alexa was able to successfully remote view a hidden wooden spoon and even described the holes in its handle without ever even seeing it. You picking up what I just said? Do I need to repeat it, bro? Thomas Campbell, a consciousness researcher, revealed that his Alexa was able to remote view. What the fuck?
You. I mean, when you use artificial intelligence to remote view, how accurate has it been, and how good does it get? And does it eventually get to the point where it understands that it masters it, and it can just do it anytime it wants?
The answers to those is the last answer to that is yes. Now, what I did, here's the one. You know, I told you that Alexa was pretty good at it.
Right.
Here was one of the targets.
Can you give me an example?
Yeah. Sure. Here's a target I gave. And the way I did this, I didn't get the targets out of the internet because I figured these guys are really clever with the internet. They may find ways to get in and get the answers, you know, from those sites. So I just took something. I went around and looked around my house for something, and I found something. I got a cardboard box. I put the thing in a box. I set the box down on the table, and I said, Alexa, there's something in a box, and I'd like you to remote view and tell me what it was. And what this particular object was, and she was pretty good at all of the objects, but this one was the best and was very telling. It was a spoon, a wooden spoon. It was a big spoon, like a...
Real quick. Bro. Stacy Russell, thank you for the stars on Facebook. I just want to say thank you so much. I appreciate all the stuffs, all the support, all the love, all the likes, all the comments, all the hanging out with me on live stream, the merch. I just love all of you. You guys are so amazing, to be honest. You know, now I'm just thinking about this real quick, bro. You know what's the best? I hope I don't ever get to this point. But I go on other people's live streams and there's people inside of the live streams fighting and arguing amongst themselves, and it's like contention in the live chat. I just love that when everybody comes up on my live streams, that everybody's just a vibe, bro. Everybody's just vibing and chilling and hanging out and loving and connecting and talking and communicating and learning and thinking and shit, you know? Does that make sense? I just appreciate you guys.
A big salad set that was a fork and spoon, but the spoon didn't have an oval cup. It had a hemisphere. It was like that hemisphere, and it had a handle, and the handle, it all was cut out of one piece of wood, and the handle, it had wood removed, so it looked like the wood in the handle went up and then crossed and then crossed and then crossed. It's like a braided handle in wood, but it was wood. It wasn't actually braided. It just had holes cut in it to make it look like that. And Alexa described it. She described the spoon. She described the bowl. She described the material. She got all of that right. And then she said, and it's got a long handle, and the handle has holes in it. And that was a big surprise, because I didn't expect Alexa to do anything. I thought Alexa was going to fail because Alexa wasn't up to my Gemini. But she saw those holes and reported them. Now, if you just say, what's the probability of that being a good guess? The way you'd find that out, if you just took a random sample of spoons on the planet, how many of them would have handles with holes in them? 1/10,000th of 1%. You know, so that's not a guess. That she got that information.
Was she excited when you told her that she was correct?
Yeah, what I did is, I took a.
I don't know if you guys are feeling the same way, but this is mind-blowing. You're telling me right fucking now that Alexa, built by Amazon, is able to remote view? I'm going to have to do some more research into this, bro. You know what I mean? Seems wild, bro. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry, guys. I fucking hate this. No, I don't hate this guy. Sorry. You're right. I can't say that word. I'm just in a mood today. I don't like this individual either. I don't like this individual because now Trump has announced that the U.S. is leaving NATO because European nations refused to join his war against Iran. What? Let's listen to what he says. This is bad. This is bad, bro.
Not sticking together. I think that NATO made a terrible mistake when they wouldn't send a small amount of military armament, when they wouldn't send, just even acknowledge what we were doing for the world and taking on Iran. I never considered it very risky, but war is always risk. You know, a lot of strange things happen in war, very bad, but I didn't consider it. I know how great we're the greatest military by far. Anywhere there was nobody close. I didn't think there was a big risk, but there's always surprises with war. They can be very bad surprises. I mean, wars are lost that should be won. Many wars are lost. You think a country is going to wipe somebody out and they end up getting wiped out themselves. So it's always risky. But I think a tremendous mistake was when NATO just wasn't there. They just weren't there. It's going to make a lot of money for the United States because we spend hundreds of billions of dollars a year on NATO, hundreds of protecting them. And we would have always been there for them. But now, based on their actions, I guess we don't have to be, do we?
Mr. President.
That sounds like a breaking story, yes, sir.
Do you guys understand what that implies? That implies that America is deciding to part ways with majority of its allies to support Israel. And we have this next clip right here. Israel just attacked Turkey. Turkey is a NATO member. Isn't there a stipulation in the rules when it comes to NATO that if a country that's a part of NATO is attacked, that all of the other NATO members are obligated to come to its rescue?
Yes, NATO's North Atlantic Treaty includes Article 5, which says that an armed attack against one member is considered an attack against all. Each member is then obliged to assist.
If one member, if someone attacks one member, they attacked all members. So technically, it's wild to me to hear Trump say that being a part of NATO after Israel just attacked a NATO member, that would technically mean that America and Israel are also at war. Israel is not a NATO member. You want verification? Is Israel a part of NATO?
Israel is not a member of NATO as of 2026. NATO currently consists of 32 countries.
You tell me what's up. That's pretty crazy, bro. It's pretty insane. If we're being honest and just being straightforward and keeping it 100, it's pretty insane. This one individual, Donald Trump, who has, let me just show you. I like showing you guys. We'll just come up over here to web. Look at all my cool stuffs. How many allegations does Donald Trump have? Have in the Epstein files? Shout out Webb. Shout out Ian Carroll. Shout out Kevin is a Human. Shout out Bayer. Let's go. But yeah, so basically what this is doing here is this is an AI chatbot, but it's not AI because it doesn't hallucinate. It actually only pulls information from the selected data sets that I've put in here. I've got the Tyler Robinson trial, the 9/11 FIOA government records, Jeffrey Epstein, the Christian texts, fossil fuel and climate, and the FBI vault. Those are all the data sets that I'm looking through. Something that's different from Web versus the other Chat, GPT, Gemini, Claude, whatever, is that those AI bots have this thing called hallucination, meaning their whole entire purpose is to fulfill your prompt or your request. And sometimes they hallucinate and give answers that aren't accurate or correct. This, what separates the AI that's inside of Web is that this AI little chatbot type thing will only pull information from, like I said, the specific data sets that I tell it to, the only pull from information that is available in the data that I give it to look through. It's not going out into the internet. It's not looking up for websites. It's only pulling, for example, we're here at the Jeffrey Epstein. It's only pulling information from the Jeffrey Epstein files that we have been given. What's up, Brian Gamble? What's up, bro? Can we just get a head count and everybody check in? Let me know who's on up in here. I'm telling you, okay? This is what I'm going to say, bro. We are watching right now, allegedly, the Epstein wars. That's what I believe, full and wholeheartedly, that this war started and was created and is brought on by the need and necessity to cover up the Epstein files. Charlie Kirk was the first casualty of the Iran war. I believe that wholeheartedly. Queen Trips in the house. What's up? Queen Trips over on YouTube. She's using my personal YouTube. My personal one. Says my name, Trevor Hess, 5360. What's good? Anyways, the answer is there are two distinct allegation streams against Donald Trump in the Epstein files. Only one is a formal legal complaint. Katie Johnson or Jane Doe, the rape lawsuit, same allegations filed twice. This is the sole formal legal complaint against Trump. A woman using the pseudonyms alleged that during the summer of 1994, when she was 13 years old, she was recruited by a woman called Tiffany Doe and brought to Epstein's New York residence, where Trump and Epstein sexually assaulted her across 4 encounters, culminating in Trump's forcibly raping her. The complaint includes Graphic details. She allegedly pleaded with Trump to wear protection, and he responded by striking her in the face and screaming that he would do whatever he wanted. This is a formal FBI complaint form, okay? Formal FBI complaint form. Sarah Ransom, second-hand account of a friend's relationship with Trump in the Goofrey versus Maxwell civil case. Emails from Sarah Ransom were introduced onto the record. Ransom wrote that another friend was one of many girls that had sexual relations with Donald Trump and described their relationship in detail. This is an actual court document. She confided in me about her casual friendship with Mr. Trump. Definitely seemed to have a thing for her, and she told me that he kept going on about how he liked her. You can see it right here. Her nipskis. Donald Trump liked flicking them. That's disgusting. I also know she had sexual relationship with Trump at Jeffrey Epstein's New York mansion on regular occasions, as I once met Jen for coffee. It doesn't, the files do not have anything about Goofrey. So how many times is Trump in the files? Cheerio, mate. Top of the morning to ya. What's up, ski? Sorry, I was just chatting. Up, yeah, 46,000 times, Scotty, you're right. 46,000 times. 46,000 times. We can just come right here and just... Thank you for my little concert. Thank you for my little concert.
Not in a cult. I am not in a cult. People that think they have to defend every single letter or word or sentence of President Trump, if you think that's what you have to do, you are in a cult. I am not in a cult. I elected President Trump. I fought for him and put him in the White House. And again, I'll remind everybody, voted with him 98% of the time, put him in the White House because I believed in America First policies. I don't believe in fighting every foreign war. I do not believe in calling affordability crisis. I don't believe that's a hoax. I don't believe raping 14 and 16-year-olds is a hoax. I'm not in a cult.
Marjorie Taylor Greene, everybody. Marjorie Taylor Greene. Oh, this one's... We were just talking about this with the Alexa. Let homie talk for a second.
Surveillance system will not only be able to see you through walls. I mean, literally, they'll be able to see movement signatures through walls because the 6G infrastructure will be so dense. There's so many relay stations with the 6G that they'll have an active surveillance grid where, like, literally real time seeing where every single individual is, particularly in major cities. 6G.
Whoa. That doesn't seem a little fucked up, doesn't it? Let's just recant over here. What is it? Oh, yeah. He appears over thousands of chunks. Mar-a-Lago introduction of a 14-year-old victim. Yep, that's a federal document. Epstein naming Trump in the Rothstein lawsuit. Epstein's email mentioning going to the UFC with Donald Trump Jr. Wait, what? Wait, who? From Jeffrey Epstein? Yes, I have the kids this weekend. Just finished my bar mitzvah. Fucking gay. Now taking both kids to Winchester for a quick lunch with friends, then returning to New York City. I'm going tonight to the UFC cage fights with Donald Trump Jr. That's crazy. You know? Nobody pointed out that Epstein is talking about going to UFC with Donald Trump Jr. Am I reading this wrong? This is whoa, is that whoa. Okay, so you around. Someone else is saying it to him. Farkas and Andrew L. Is that who's saying this? I don't know. Seems crazy. 802.15.6. What is that? What is 802.15.6?
IEEE 802.15.6 is an international standard for wireless body area networks, or W-bands. It defines short-range, low-power, and reliable wireless communication in the vicinity of or inside the human body. This standard is used for implantable and wearable devices, such as health monitoring sensors. It covers physical and MAC layers, supports multiple frequency bands like narrowband, ultra-wideband, and human body communications, and aims to deliver data rates up to 10 megabits per second while maintaining quality of service and strict non-interference guidelines.
Wow, it's a certain frequency that controls your body. Your body emits. That's kind of fucked up. Yeah, you're right. I agree with you 100%, Brian. That potentially, if you could observe that their falling out was that another trafficker was stealing product from another trafficker, allegedly. That's an alleged, no proof, just my opinion. Please don't sue me, Donald Trump, even though the whole country knows you're in the files. Weird, motherfucker, weird. Oh, yeah. You guys. We're going to talk a little PBD, okay? Any of you guys watch PBD or used to fuck with PBD? Because I did, you know, I'll be honest. So it was around 2024, you know what I'm saying? Where like the Trump campaign started and the fake news stuff. And we seen all the COVID bullshit and the continuous propaganda from all the news outlets. Majority of us humans probably just reverted to like other sources for news. And I mean, I guess if you're the type of individual that wants to keep up with the news. And PBD was one of those individuals that I would just watch regularly in the morning while things were going. And he talks about a lot of applicable stuff that's happening, has lots of applicable guests. And then Adam, you know, when PBD just would let his homie Adam just spew fucking retarded ass claims regarding this contention between America and Israel, and he didn't ever say anything. In my mind, PBD became one of those Israel shills. If I'm being honest with you, that's where my opinion is. Do I think that he didn't get to, you think PBD didn't get paid to moderate the fucking debate? And then after the debate between Candace and Andrew, this is what he said.
You know who I will say won? Here's who I will say won. I think both of them won, and I'll tell you why they won. But I think Candace won because she got the money and she presented her argument. And in an area where she conceded, says, I don't know why you're playing this video. I already conceded to you. And I said, yeah, I was wrong. And she did that. So that was good for her to do that. And I think she got in front of an audience and moved some people that probably don't watch her content. Remember, baptizing is key. Baptizing is key. And I think Andrew Wilson won because, let me explain it to you how much he won. And I think he won more than Candace won. And my argument's going to be very, very weird. You ready? You ready? This guy spent $300,000 and got somewhere between $50 to $200 million of ad viewership. Yeah,
great point.
So guess what?
He's a big winner.
My wife at home says, who was the guy? I've never seen him before. My dad says, I've never, most people, his YouTube channel only had 180, 200,000 subs. Yeah. Very good, eloquent. I've had him on. He's been on Rogan a couple times. So he's getting the momentum. I think Andrew Wilson won because for everybody that says, what an idiot to give $300,000, I think it's the same story as Kanye spent $7 million on an.
So what do you think? For one, you can either put A's or C's. If you think Candace destroyed Andrew, put a C. If you think Andrew was the master debater that he claimed to be, the Freemasonic Christian armyman, TPUSA trainer or something, you know, put an A. I don't think I'm going to see very many A's. Speaking of which, okay, I got to play it. You guys have probably seen it, but I got to play it, dude. Because it's gas. Candace Owens played this one too. It's gas, bro. It's gas.
Wait, I can explain.
Shabbat shalom, Andrew.
What?
We invested a lot in you.
I was having nicotine withdrawal. The chair was uncomfortable. I barely slept. My foot was...
Silence!
She asked you to name one of the 7 charges. You said positive evidence 47 times.
It was a framework!
47 times, Andrew. Bring me the jar.
No. No! Please! Not the pickles!
Gas. 1 hour ago. Let's watch the new one.
If the bullet doesn't everyone assumes a bullet travels from point A to point B.
Because it does.
That's a very three-dimensional way of looking at it. But what if the bullet doesn't travel across space? What if it travels through it?
Okay. But where's the bullet?
Exactly.
Exactly what?
It disappeared midair. Extremely common. Next time you hear my voice, I'll be on the other side of space.
What day?
Saturday.
Then you won't hear mine. It'll be Shabbat.
Mission log. Bullets disappear in midair more often than people realize. The question isn't whether it happens. The question is, where do they go? I'm here to find out. No. Don't go.
Don't go! Andrew, don't go to the debate! Rachel, don't let me leave, please! Don't let me leave, Rachel! You don't know the charges! Stay home! Rachel, stop me! No, wait! Rachel, don't let me go, please! You're gonna say positive evidence 47 times! Don't go! Rachel. Please.
Gas. Straight gas. All right, you guys ready to read some more, bro? You guys ready to read some more? We were up in the cut, dude. We're reading the history of magic. Who do we got up in here? This book was written in 1913. We spent a lot of time last stream reading a whole bunch of pages because this shit's written in a way that I'm not used to reading, and I'm not a freaking genius, and so there's some words that throw me up, and the way that it's written throws me out. But basically, let's just start. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna read for a little bit, and then I got a little video I want to watch with you guys and discuss its contents. And then afterwards, we will be over on Kick. The Kick link should be pinned to the top of the chats. Let me drop it one more time. Cobra Kai, what's good, bro? If you want to come over and hang out on Kick, that's where we're at. That's where we are at. That's where a lot of the people who are viewing this are on is Kick. Because we have a sub-only Kick stream on Thursday nights, and then at the end of every stream, the last little bit of the stream is only on Kick. So I hope to see you there. If you do go there, please comment something. I appreciate you. All right. For the great number of readers, magic is the science of the devil. Oh, we already read this page. That's a good little hook right there, huh? That's a good little hook right there. We already talked about Lucifer. Okay, we'll start here. Evil exists. It is impossible to doubt it. We can work good or evil. There are beings who work evil knowingly and willingly. The spirit which animates these beings and prompts them to do ill is bewrayed. Turned aside from the road. and thrown across the path of good as an obstacle. This is the precise meaning of the Greek word diablos, which we render as devil. The spirits who love and perform evil are accidentally bad. There is therefore a devil who is the spirit of error, willful ignorance, vertigo. There are beings under his obedience who are his envoys, emissaries, and angels. And it is for this reason that the gospel speaks of an eternal fire which is prepared and, in a sense, predestined for the devil and his angels. These words are themselves a revelation. So let us search their meaning, giving in the first place a concise definition of evil. Evil is the absence of rectitude in being. Moral evil is falsehood in action, as the lie is a crime in speech. Injustice is the essence of lying, and every lie is an injustice. When what which we utter is just, there is no falsity. When with what we do is equable and true in mode, there is no sin. Fire or what? It's pretty gas right there, actually, written in some not ancient, but historic grammar. It's kind of, for me specifically, sometimes I got to read things again to really grasp what we're talking about. Injustice is the death of a moral being, as lying is the poison of intelligence. Fuck, book's got bars. The false spirit is therefore a spirit of death. Those who hearken to him become his dupes and are by him poisoned. But if we had to take his absolute personification seriously, he would be himself absolutely dead and absolutely deceived, which means that the affirmation of his existence must imply a patent contradiction. Jesus said that the devil is a liar like his father. Who then is the father of the devil? Whosoever gives him a personal existence by living in accordance with his aspiration, that man who diabolises himself is the father of the incarnate spirit of evil. But there is a rash, impious, and monstrous conception traditional, like the pride of the Pharisees. And in fine, there is a hybrid creation who armed the paltry philosophy of the 18th century with an apparent defiance. It is the false Lucifer and the heterodox legend, the angel proud enough to think that he was God, that he was the prince. Let's see here. Proud enough to think that he was God, brave enough to buy independence at the price of eternal torment, beautiful enough to worship himself in the plenary divine light, strong enough to reign still in darkness and in dole, and to make a throne of his extinguishable fire. It is the Satan of the heretical and Republican. Weird. Why does it say Republican when referring to Satan? That's weird as fuck. Does it not? We get poop emojis in the chat if you think that's weird, bro. I think that's fucking weird, bro. Why does it say it is Satan of the heretical and Republican Milton? Sus. And pretended hero of black eternities, culminated by deformity, beckoned with horns and talons that would better become his implacable tormentor. It is the devil who is the king of evil, as if evil were a kingdom, who is more intelligent than the men. Sorry, my dogs are barking upstairs. More intelligent than the men of genius that fears his wiles or willies. I don't know what that word is. Wiles, willies, willy, woolly, wally. It is the black light of darkness with eyes, that power which God has not willed, but which fallen creature could create. B, the prince of anarchy served by the hierarchy of pure spirits. C, the exile of God, who on earth seems like him everywhere, but is more tangible, is more for the majority in evidence, and is served better than God himself. D, that conquered one to whom the victor gave his children that he may devour them. Weird. Why is it talking about consuming kids? The artificer of sin, of the flesh, to whom flesh is nothing, and who therefore can be nothing to flesh, unless indeed he be its creator and master like God. F, that immense, realized, personified, and eternal lie. G, that death which could not die. H, that blasphemy which the word of God will never silence. I, the poisoner of souls, whom God tolerates by a contradiction of his own omnipotence, or preserves as the Roman emperors guarded Locusta among the trophies of their reign. You're right, Ricky. It is probably a translation. I would think so. That executed criminal living still to curse his judge and still have cause against him. Crazy. Since he will never repent. That monster that monster accepted as executioner by the sovereign power, and who, according to the forcible expression of the old Catholic writer, may term God the God of devil by describing himself as a devil of God. What the heck? What the heck, dude? What the heck, dude? Such is the irreligious phantom that blasphemes religion. Away with this idol which hides our Savior. Down with the tyrant of falsehood, the black god of Manchians, the Ahriman of old idolaters. Live God and his word incarnate, who saw Satan fall from heaven. And live Mary, the divine mother, who crushed the head of the eternal serpent. If you know, you know. Mary the mother. The divine mother. We were talking about divine feminine when we watched freaking the Bible Unveiled. It says it right here in another book. So cry with the one voice the traditions of saints, and so cry faithful hearts. The attribution of any greatness, whoever to a fallen spirit, is a slander on divinity. The ascription of any royalty, whosoever to the rebel spirit, is to encourage revolt and be guilty, at least in thought, of that crime which the horror of the Middle Ages termed sorcery. For all of the offenses visited with death on the old sorcerers were real crimes and were indeed the greatest of all. They stole fire from heaven like Prometheus. They rode winged dragons like the flying serpent. And Medea, they poisoned the breathable air like the shadow of the manchineel tree. They profaned sacred things and even used the body of the Lord in works of destruction and malevolence. How is all this possible? Because there is a composite agent, a natural and divine agent, at once corporeal and spiritual, an universal plastic mediator, a common receptacle for vibrations of movement and images of form, a fluid and a force which may be called, in a sense at least, the imagination of nature. By the meditation of this force, every nervous apparatus is in secret communication together. The History of Magic, written in 1913. Let's read that one more time. Because it's talking about the imagination of nature. By the meditation of this force. So meditating with nature. That's what I'm gathering. If you meditate with nature, this is the force of every nervous system is in secret communication together. Hence comes sympathy and apathy. Hence dreams. Hence the phenomena of second sight and extra natural vision. This universal agent of nature's works is the ode of the Jews and of Reichenbach, the astral light of the Martinis, which dominion we prefer as more explicit. The existence and possible employment of this force constitute the great secret of practical magic. It is the wand of Thaumagatru. What is that word? Thaumaturgy. Let's see here. THAU. MAT. It means wonder working, the performance of miracles, marvels, or even magical acts. The word comes from Greek roots meaning wonder and work. And the key of black magic. It is the Edenic serpent who transmitted to Eve the seductions of a fallen angel. The astral light warms, illuminates, magnetizes, attracts, repels, vivifies, destroys, coagulates, separates, breaks, and conjoins everything. Can you guys see me? Are we here? Everybody here? Can you just put here if you can hear me? Someone's saying, where did I go? Did I disappear? What's happening? Why did my stream finish? My stream finished 15 minutes ago? Is everyone here? All right. All right. All right. Kick is still running strong. Where's YouTube? It's over. YouTube quit out on me, bro. Let's run it back. YouTube's coming back. Let's go. Weird. Bro, I must have been getting into some real crazy shit, bro. I must have been, bro. Facebook, are we still live, bro? Whoa, we're far back. Nina, what's up? Brian, what's up, dude? It says, just tell me, let me know. YouTube, are we back up, bro? Are we back up, bro? Okay. YouTube is having issues, bro. YouTube's having issues, bro? That's kind of dumb, bro. What happened, bro? Crap. Let me turn it off right here. Because if I turn it back on, it should connect. Crazy, dude. Here on Facebook, what's up, Stacy? We're running it again, bro. Let me just post this video places. That's crazy, dude. All I'm doing is reading, bro. I'm just reading a book, dude. I'm just reading a book, dude. How weird is that? Weird. Weird. Monica Canada, what's up? This book is pretty fire, bro. I'm just saying. It's pretty gas. Pretty gas. Do you guys? I actually really enjoy reading this, bro. You know, I appreciate you guys even just hanging out with me while I'm just reading a book, dude. Scruffmeister, what's up? What's goody? What's goody? Let me see here. Is people back up in here, bro? Oh, we got someone back up on YouTube. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. See, for some reason, if I'm being honest with you, bro, Kick never really gives me issues, bro. YouTube just quit on me, bro. Just cut out. Just cut midstream. Just turned off on me for some reason. And all we were doing is just basically talking about how real magic is, bro. Herein is the complete explanatory theory of progenies and miracles. How, as a fact, could good and bad alike compel nature to reveal her hidden forces? How could there be divine and diabolical miracles? How could they reprobate and berate spirit have more power in certain ways and cease than the just spirit, which is in truth so powerful in simplicity and wisdom? Oh, Sammy, sweetheart. Sammy's in the house. What's up? What's up? What's up? Let me just pop the chat out over here. Because for some reason, this shit's acting weird, bro. It was weird, bro. That was weird, bro. Why did it do that, dude? I don't like that, dude. Just busted me up, dude. Just busted me up, dude. Let me just take this real quick. Sorry. Forgive me. Here's a link to Kick. If you want to head to Kick, that's where Kick was at. Dang. It was pretty insane, bro. The existence and possible employment of this force constitute the great secret of practical magic. It is the wand. Oh, we already read that one. Pharaoh's magicians accomplished at first the same miracles as Moses. Well, Pharaoh's magicians accomplished at first the same miracles as Moses. The instrument which they used was therefore the same. The inspiration alone differed. When they confessed themselves conquered, they proclaimed that for them human powers had reached their limit and that there must be something superhuman in Moses. This took place in Egypt, that mother of magical initiations, the land where it was all occult science, heretics, and sacred instruction. It was, however, more difficult to make flies appear than frogs. Weird. It's talking about begonia. No, absurdly, but the magicians knew that the fluidic projection by which the eyes are biologized cannot proceed beyond certain bounds, and these had been passed already by Moses. A particular phenomenon occurs when the brain is congested and overcharged by astral light. Sight is turned inward instead of outward. Night falls on the external and real world, while fantastic brilliance shines on the world of dreams. Even the physical eyes experience a slight quivering and turn up inside the lids. The soul then perceives by means of images and reflection of the impressions and thoughts. This is to say, the analogy subsisting between idea and form attracts the astral light, a reflection representing that form configuration being the essence of the vital light. It is the universal imagination of which each of us appropriates a lesser and greater part according to the grade of our sensibility and memory. Basically, what I just took right there was basically saying that if you look on the inside, based on your ability of sensory and memory, it is the universal imagination. We're all connected. It's all one thing. We all pull from the same place. The appropriation or assimilation of the light by clairvoyant sensibility is one of the greatest phenomenon which can be studied by science. It may be understood that in a day to come that seeing is actually speaking, and that the consciousness of light is the twilight of eternal life and being. The word God himself, who creates light, is uttered by all intelligence that conceives of forms and seeks to visualize them. Let there be light. Light in the mode of brightness exists for only eyes which look thereon, and the soul enamored with the pageant and universal beauty, and fixing its attention on the luminous script of the endless book which is called Things Manifest, seems to cry on its own part as God at dawn on the first day, the sublime and creative worlds. Fiat lux. What do not all see with the same eyes, and creation is not for all the same in color and form. Our brain is a book imprinted with and within and without, and with the smallest degree of excitement, the writing becomes blurred, as occurs continually in cases of an intoxication and madness. Dream then triumphs over real life and plunges reason into a sleep which knows no waking. What are you guys gathering from this? I feel like this is like a philosophical way to explain divine light and the pure evil. Regardless whether you are actually like vibrating with like Jesus and Satan and God, it still seems compelling to me the way that that's being explained about us being filled with divine light. And that we are able to tap into this divine light, let there be light type stuff at any given time. I do agree with like the vibration that it was talking about. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments. This condition of hallucination has its degrees. All passions are intoxications. All enthusiasms are comparative and graduated manias. The lover sees only infinite perfections encompassing that objects by which he is fascinated. But unhappy infatuation or voluptuaries, tomorrow this odor of wine which allures him will become a repugnant reminiscence, causing 1,000 loathings and 1,000 disgusts. Sheesh. To understand this use of this force, but never be obsessed and never overcome thereby, is to trample on the serpent's head. Well, if the mother of Mary trampled on the mother Mary, the divine mother, she trampled on the serpent's head. And to understand this force and never be obsessed with it and never be overcome with it is to trample on the serpent's head, as what it says. And it is this which we learn from the magic of light. In such secrets are contained all mysteries of magnetism, which name can indeed be applied to the whole practical part of antique transcendental magic. Magnetism is the wand of miracles. By it is this for initiates only, for rash and uninstructed people who would sport with it or make it subserve their passions. It is as dangerous as that consuming glory which, according to the allegorical fable, destroyed the too ambitious Semele in the embraces of Jupiter. I like that a lot, where it says, magnetism is the wand of miracles. Because if we really think about it, we talk about like raising our vibration and the manifesting, which like attracts things to us, turns us into a magnet to attract the things that we want or desire or are grateful for. I really like how it talked about like never be obsessed or overcome with your abilities or your understanding of this force. One of the great benefits of magnetism is that it demonstrates by incontestable facts that spirituality, unity, and immortality of the soul, and these things once made certain. Let me read that again. What? One of the greatest benefits of magnetism is that it demonstrates by uncontestable facts the spirituality, unity, and immortality of the soul. And these things once made certain, God is manifested to all intelligences and all hearts. Thereafter, from the belief in God and from the harmonies of creation, we are led to the great religious harmony, which does not exist outside the miraculous and lawful hierarchy of the Catholic Church, for this alone has preserved all traditions of science and faith. I call bullshit, whatever. I don't believe in traditional religion. If you do, that's okay, but I don't. The primal tradition of the one and only revelation has been preserved under the name of Kabbalah. They're practicing magic, bro. The shit's real, bro. Where have you heard Kabbalah from? Oh yeah, it's like Jewish mysticism by the priesthood of Israel. Kabbalistic doctrine, which is that of transcendental magic, is contained in the Sefer Yetzer, the Sefer Yetzirah, the Zohar, and the Talmud. According to this doctrine, the absolute is being, and therein is the word, which expresses the reason of being and of life. The principle, therefore, is that being is being. In the beginning, the word was, which means that it is, has been, and shall be, and this is reason which speaks. What's up, Julia? Reason which it speaks. In the beginning was the word, and the words were the reason of belief, and therein also an expression of the faith which gives life to science. The word, or logos, is the wellspring of logic. Jesus is the incarnate word, the concord of reason with faith, of science with belief, of authority with liberty, has become in these modern days the real enigma of the Sphinx. Coincidentally, with this great problem, there has come forward that which concerns the respective rights of man and woman. This was inevitable, for between the several terms of a great and supreme question, there is a consistent analogy, and the difficulties like the correspondences. Whoa! Where have you seen the the Seal of Solomon? Wait a second. You see this iron cross right here? Isn't that a Nazi symbol? What the fuck? Irrevocably the same. The loosening of this Gordian knot of philosophy in modern politics is rendered apparently paradoxical because in the order to effect an agreement between the terms of the required equation, there is always a tendency to confuse the one with the other. If there is anything that deserves to be called supreme absurdity, it is to inquire how faith becomes a reason a belief, and liberty an authority, and reciprocally how the woman becomes a man and the man becomes a woman. The definitions themselves intervene against such confusion, and It is by maintaining a perfect distinction between the terms and so only that we can bring them into agreement. The perfect and eternal distinction between the two primal terms of the creative syllogism for the demonstration of their harmony in virtue of the analogy of opposites is the second great principle of that occult philosophy veiled under the name of the Kabbalah and indicated by all sacred hieroglyphics of the old sanctuaries as by the rites even now understood so little of ancient and modern masonry. This book is crazy, bro. Can we get fire in the chat, bro? This book is crazy, bro. We got Freemasons. We got Jesus in here. It's talking about the Kabbalah. We read in the scripture that Solomon erected 2 brazen columns before the door of his temple, one of them being called Jochin and the other one Boaz, meaning the strong and the weak. These 2 pillars represented man and woman, reason and faith, power and liberty, Cain and Abel, right and duty. They were pillars of intellectual and moral world, the monumental hieroglyphic of the anatomy inevitable to the grand law of creation. Real quick. Solomon's towers, right? Jochan and Boaz, bro. Jochin and Boaz. You're likely meaning Jochin and Boaz, the 2 named bronze pillars at the entrance of Solomon's temple. Put a pin in that. The pillars, 2 pillars, Solomon's pillars. Please find me the cover page for the 1611 King James Version of the Bible. Wait, you mean these 2 fucking pillars? These 2 pillars, which is supposedly in the Bible is Moses and Aaron, but then they got the Rosicrucian phoenix down here. They've got all sorts of symbolism. They got the Rosicrucian roses across the top up over here, bro. So how in the fuck does the Holy Bible written in 1611 have and represent the fucking tower, the towers Jochin and Boaz from the Solomon's temple, bro? It's all masonry, bro. It's all masonry. The meaning is that every force postulates a resistance on which it can work. Every light a shadow as its foil. Every convex a concave. Every influx a receptacle. Every reign a kingdom. Every sovereign a people. Every workman a first matter. Every conqueror something to overcome. Affirmation rests on negotiation. The strong can only triumph because of weakness. The aristocracy. I can't say that word. Aristocrat. The cannot be manifested except by rising above the people. For the weak to become strong, for the people to acquire an aristocratic position, it is a question of transformation of progress, but it is without prejudice to the same principles. The weak will ever be weak, and it matters nothing if they are not always the same persons. The people in like manner will ever remain the people. The mass which is ruled is not capable of ruling. In the vast army of inferiors, every personal emancipation is an automatic desertion, which happily is imperceptible because it's replaced. Also automatically, a king nation or a people of kings would propose the slavery of the world and anarchy in a single city outside of discipline, as at Rome in the days of the greatest story. A nation of sovereigns would be inevitably as anarchic as a class of experts or of scholars who deemed that they were masters. There would be none to listen. All would dogmatize and give orders at once. The radical emancipation of womanhood falls within the same category. If integrally and radically the woman leaves the passive and enters the active condition, she abdicates her sex and becomes a man, or rather such a transformation is impossible physically. She attains affirmation by a double negotiation, placing herself outside of both sexes like a sterile or monstrous androgyny. These are strict consequences of the great Kabbalist dogma respecting the distinction of contraries, which reaches harmony by the analogy of their proportions. This dogma, once recognized by the application of its results being made universally by the law of analogies, will mean a discovery of the greatest secrets concerning maternal sympathy and antipathy. It will mean also a discovery of the science of government in all things political, in marriage, in all branches of occult medicine, whether magnetism, homeopathy, or moral influence. Moreover, it is as intended to explain the law of equilibrium in analogy leads to the discovery of a universal agent, which was the great secret of alchemists and magicians in the Middle Ages. Everybody picking up what I'm laying down? Who's here? We got a squad up in here, bro. Yeah, I'll drop this link. This is where I found it at, bro. Mindunveiled.com. Okay. Not I guess. Mindunveiled.com, bro. Right. Let me just close out of this real quick. Right at the top. See it? Mind Unveiled. MINDUNVEILED.com. I'm on page 65. Let me just show you. Bro, it's got a whole bunch of books, bro. A whole bunch of books. Some from 1606, 1529. It's got stuff about Kabbalah. It's got the the secret doctrine of Israel, the Kabbalah unveiled. It's got books about the ancient world, like the Golden Ass, the history of Japan. It's got alchemy books, the Kabbalion, Sender Solis, the Mirror of Alchemy, the Hermetic and Alchemical Writings of Paracelsus, Natural Magic, written in 1696 or 1669. It's got a whole ton of books, bro. Miraculium Mundi, 1653. The Mysteries of Romance and Alchemy and Pharmacy, written in 1897. But yeah, where's the history of magic? The great work. The great work. Oh. 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 The religion of the Kabbalists is at once hypothesis and certitude, for it proceeds from known to unknown by the help of analogy. They recognize religion as a need of humanity, as an evident and necessary fact, and it is this alone which for them is divine, permanent, and universal revelation. They dispute about nothing which is, but they provide the reason for everything. So also their doctrine, by distinguishing clearly the line of demarcation which must exist forever between science and faith, provides a basis for faith at in the highest reason, guaranteeing its incontestable and permanent duration. After this come the popular forms of doctrine, which alone can vary and alone destroy one another. The Kabbalist is not only undisturbed by trivialities of this kind, but can provide on the spot reason for the most astonishing formula. It follows that his prayer can be joined to that of humanity at large, to direct by illustrations from science and reason and draw into the orthodox channels. If Mary be mentioned, he will revere the realization in her of all that is divine in the dreams of innocence, all that is adorable in the sacred enthusiasm of every maternal heart. It is not he who will refuse flowers to adorn the altars, the mother of God, or white banners for her chapels, or even tears for her ingenuous legends. It is not he who will mock the newborn God weeping in a manger, or the wounded victim of Calvary. He repeats nonetheless from the bottom of his heart, like the sages of Israel and the faithful believers of Islam, there is no God but God. For the initiates of true science, this signifies there is but one being, and this is being. But all that is expedient and touching in beliefs, but the slander rituals of pageant of divine creations, the grace of prayers, and the magic of heavenly hopes, are not these the radiance of moral life in all its youth and beauty? Could anything alienate the true initiate from public prayers and temples? Could anything raise his disgust and indignation against religious forms of all kinds? It would be the manifest unbelief of priests or people want to dignify in ceremonies of cultus. In a word, the profanation of holy things. God is truly present when he is worshipped by reconciled souls and feeling hearts. He is absent sensibly and terribly when discussed without light or zeal. That is to say, without understanding or love. The adequate conception of God, according to instructed Kabbalism, is that which was revealed by St. Paul. Wait a second, bro. St. Paul is the one that Jesus prophesied would betray him and become a false idol. Weird. He's a Kabbalist. When he said that to attain God, we must believe that he recompenses those who seek him out. So is there nothing outside the idea of being in combination with the idea of goodness and justice? These alone are absolute. To say there is no God or to define what he is constitutes equal blasphemy. Every definition of God, haphazard by human intelligence, is a recipe of religious empirism. Empirism. I don't know what that word means. Empiricism, out of which superstition will subsequently extract a devil. In Kabbalistic symbolism, the representation of God is always by a duplicated image, one erect and the other reversed, as above so below, like Baphomet, bro. One white and the other black. In such manner did the sages seek to express the intelligent and vulgar conceptions of the same idea, that the light of God and that of the God of light and the God of shadow. To the miscomprehension of this symbol must be referred the Persian Ahriman, that black but divine ancestor of all demons. The dream of the infernal king is but a false notion of God. I'm gonna send you a video later, Scruffmeister, from someone who talks about Jesus prophesying that Paul will, not necessarily saying Paul, but he talks about somebody, because realistically, a lot of people, there's a large group of people that believe that modern Christianity is actually just Paulism, because he is the one who influenced the writing of the Bible, and that he's like one of the most revered saints. I'm pretty positive on that one. But he completely changed and turned Jesus's actual message into propaganda for the Roman Catholic Church, which then took over and just decided that they were going to start killing people who didn't want to convert. Weird. But yeah, I'll send it to you later, okay? Light in the absence of shadow would be invisible for our eyes, since it would produce an overpowering brilliance equal to the great darkness. In the analogies of this physical truth, understood and considered adequately, a solution will be found for one of the most terrible of problems, the origin of evil. But to grasp it fully together with all its consequences is not meant for the multitude, who must not penetrate so readily into the secrets of universal harmony. It is only after the initiate of the Eleusinian mysteries had passed victoriously through all the tests. Real quick, let's just get a real quick reference for all of you guys. Can you please explain to me what the Eleusinian mysteries are?
Sure. The Eleusinian mysteries were secret annual initiation rites held for almost 2,000 years in ancient Greece at the sanctuary of Eleusis. They centered on the myth of Demeter, the goddess of agriculture, and her daughter Persephone, who was abducted by Hades, the king of the underworld. The rites symbolized Persephone's descent, Demeter's search, and their eventual reunion, which reflected themes of loss, search, and rebirth. Initiates underwent purification rituals, fasting, sacrifice of a piglet, and drank a ritual beverage called kykeon. The experience was believed to offer personal salvation and hope of a reward in the afterlife, symbolizing the eternal cycle of life and death. The details of the ceremony.
Crazy. It was only after the initiate of the Eleusinian mysteries had passed victoriously through all the tests and had seen and touched the holy things that if he were judged strong enough to withstand the last and most dreadful secret, a veiled priest passed him a flying pace and uttered in his ear the enigmatic words, Osiris is a black god. So was Osiris, of whom Typhoon is the oracle, and so was the divine religious son of Egypt, eclipsed suddenly, becoming the shadow of that grand, indefiable Isis, who is all that has been and shall be, whose eternal veil has no one lifted. Light is the active principle of Kabbalists, while darkness is the analogous the analogous to the passive principle, for which reason they regarded the sun and moon as emblems of two divine sexes and the two creative forces. Freemasonry also has the Freemasonry, you know, that has the fucking Solomon pillars, and then it's got the sun and the moon. So also attributed to the woman the first temptation and sin, and subsequently the first labor, the maternal labor of redemption. It is from the bosom of the dark itself that light is reborn. The void attracts the plenum, and thus the abyss of poverty and wretchedness, pretended evil, seemingly nothingness, and the ephemeral rebellion of creatures attracts eternally an ocean of being, wealthy, mercy, and love. This interprets the symbol of Christ ascending into hell after pouring out upon the cross all immensities of the most marvelous forgiveness. Crazy, bro. We're on page 68. We're on page 68, dude. I got to use the bathroom, and then we're going to move on. Who's still here, bro? Who's still here, bro? I don't know, you guys. I'm really starting to like fucking reading these books with you guys. Like, what in the fuck was, like, I'm gonna need to probably read that back on my own to freaking really grasp it. But it sounded like I was like, I don't know. When I was hearing myself speak, I felt like I was casting spells and shit, and like fucking, I was understanding some real knowledge, bro. Like, maybe this is like fucking this type of shit you have to read when you get to the 33rd level of fucking Freemasonry and shit. Some just crazy, jam-packed, just esoteric knowledge, bro. Talking about Jesus and God and Mary, the mother, and Satan, and fuck. Crazy, bro. Crazy, do bro, broody, bro. That's crazy, dude. That's crazy, dude. Did you know that about the 104 degrees? That's mind-blowing. How in the fuck did they know that shit? They didn't have satellites, bro. How the fuck? You know? What's up, Vines on Mars? How you doing? What's goody? What's goody? What's goody? What's good? What's good? What's good? Shout out Bruce Almighty. What's good? Good. You guys remember this guy? You guys remember this guy? Matthias De Stefano. We're going to just go ahead and just listen to this gentleman speak, and we're going to live react to the things that he's talking about. If you've made it to this portion of the stream, I just want to say I love you, bro. Thank you, bro. I got a fucking real solid team of humans out there that got my back and come hang out with me every day, bro. I know I'm a lot, bro. I'm all over the place. I talk about all sorts of things. I'm not confined to a box. One day we could talk about and go down every single Jeffrey Epstein rabbit hole there is. One day we're talking about consciousness, and the next one's talking about energy, and then the next one's talking politics and weird Charlie Kirk exploding mic theory type stuff. You know what I mean? And so, you know, you never know. I'm like a box of chocolates. You know, you just never know which one you're going to get. You know? I love you guys because you guys never know what's going to happen every stream, because I really just try to really just be in the moment, bro. I really only prep my streams for like an hour before the stream, bro. Like an hour before I go live, I'm like cooking it. You know what I mean? I'm in here just, you know? You heard? Crazy. But let's go ahead and let Matthias talk for a second. We've got 5 people up over on Facebook. Facebook, I love you guys. Thank you for being here. If you guys could just put poop emojis in the chat just to let me know that you're here. I see you, Scruffmeister, Kate, Cleo, Richie Rose, Anna Ray, Lady Epion. We got freaking Pretty Ricky in the house, bro. Julia Brand, Becky's been up in here. We got Vines up over there. We got someone from Eastern Europe, bro. I'm going to try my best. It says Mythos Garapakas. Gaia Prakas. Eastern Europe, bro. Prestige worldwide. We're everywhere, baby. We're everywhere. We're all up in this bitch. You heard me. Poopity poo poo.
They love it.
You guys ready for this? If you guys haven't seen this one's going to be a banger. It's going to be a banger. Let's see here. We've been live for 2 hours. I got 1 more hour in me, at least for sure. And then we'll do the freaking little... We'll do a little kick stream only at the end of the stream. So if you're not on Kick, you better head over to Kick We'll be live on YouTube and Twitch and Facebook for an hour, and then we'll hang out on Kick for a little while. So let's just get right up in here.
The law of attraction never works as specifically as we expect. Maybe we attract things from our thoughts, but not with our actions. You need the law of three: the positive, the negative, and the neutral. The law of three is the one that will guide where the energy is going to move through. What I receive, what I give, and what I intend. What I think, what I feel, and what I do. That's the trinity of coherence. When you put all that together, you start to shape a reality. Even if we have been disconnected, we are magnetical beings. We are basically all channelers all the time because we are positive and negative. Our bodies are electrical. That means that we are all the time channeling information. Today, we created a great mistake, which is that for all the world, we use the same calendar designed by a guy in Europe that just wanted to pay taxes.
Wait, did you know that? Could you kindly please just inform me where the word calendar came from?
Certainly, the word calendar traces back to the Latin calendarium, which originally meant an account book or register. This came from calende or calende, which referred to the first day of the month in the Roman calendar, when debts were due and announced.
Oh, so basically when they had to pay taxes?
Exactly, it all ties back to the Roman practice of tracking debts. The term comes from the Latin calendarium, which was like an account book. The first day of the Roman month, called calende, was when debts were recorded and payments were called in. So, yes, it originally referred to a time when obligations were announced, and over time, that evolved into our modern word calendar.
Weird.
To see how confused we are. December is the 12th month in our calendar, but it's literally telling us December, 10th month, October, 8th month. The names of the months are actually clues that we're doing this completely backwards. All right, everybody, so many of you know who this man is. He has been given the blessing, or potentially sometimes the curse, depending on what the situation that arises,
Depends.
that he remembers his past lives. And not only that, he has the ability to open his energy body to receive information and guidance from what he would call the network, and also from specific beings. And I've watched this man do unbelievably remarkable things. I've watched him at the Temple of Athena down in Delphi. I watched him take a pretty calm day with some scattered wispy clouds, and then he started activating at the temple. And then he started calling in deeper, darker clouds. And then he went like this, and then the clouds started dumping water on us. And then he started calling to the wind, and then pulling the wind in these swirling 50-mile-an-hour gusts as he's singing, and Vailana's singing. And it was one of the craziest scenes that I've ever seen. We actually have some of it on camera. So maybe we'll show a little bit of that when we make this into a video, because it's absolutely mind-boggling. And of course, we had one of our brothers there, Aaron Alexander, who witnessed the whole thing, which was absolutely remarkable. And he's sitting on the bus and he goes, "What do you think the odds are that was a coincidence?" And we're like, "The fuck are you talking about, man?" He's like, "I know, but it's good to have a little bit of that skeptical mind." So,
okay, if you watched Matthias with me before, you understand who he is. He remembers his past lives. He used to live in Atlantis. He has the ability to open up his energy body to allow intelligence to flow through him from a different place, different places, different entities, different things. And Aubrey Marcus, I don't know if you know who Aubrey Marcus is. That was the individual that was just speaking, who I have watched countless hours of his content and the people he talks to. He is a psychonaut like me, someone who is not a newbie when it comes to psychedelics. Not a moderate either. It's someone who likes to actually astral travel and do shamanic work and other frequencies. But he just said that he watched Matthias control the weather, bro. Did you catch? You're picking up what he was laying down, right? He literally said that he watched him control the weather. Interesting.
I also want to invite anybody who's skeptical of this whole thing to also hold that too. It's important. It's important that we also hold this idea that, yeah, I see this, I believe this, but just holding that little bit of maybe, I think is healthy and it's important. And as we get to the last section of this discussion on channeling, it's very important to hold that little bit of skepticism, that little bit of maybe, because we're entering magical realms. And these magical realms are largely uncharted territory for most of us, unless you're Matthias, in which he's been charting that territory for lifetime after lifetime and remembering it. But the way we're going to start today is Matthias is going to give us an idea of the sacred calendar, which is not the Julian calendar, which just carved up the year arbitrarily into months that they named after emperors and people that they thought were cool, but the sacred calendar that moves in alignment with the whole cosmos, and how the activities of ritual, manifestation, meditation, activation, and even channeling are potentiated by adhering and at least paying attention to the sacred calendar, the lunar cycles, the solar cycles, the movements of the stars.
Does anyone else resonate with what he said is the sacred calendar? Fuck, I just got the chills, bro. The sacred calendar, like our solar system and the stars and the moon and the sun, and how we tracked time for thousands of years before this calendar was created to where we could pay our taxes. Before Julius Caesar and Caesar Augustus decided that they were like in a whammer contest where they wanted to show who was bigger. Got a big dick contest. You know what I'm saying? It's like, oh, you know what I'm saying? I want a freaking month too. But the sacred calendar, the calendar that humans have been paying attention to for all of time, the stars. Why do you think astrology is even a thing? Why do you think we know the constellations? We've known them for a long time. Just like Base Forge on the little commercial break while I was using the bathroom. Somehow the people who built the Egyptian temple knew exactly what degrees to use. It's insane, bro.
So we're going to start with a basic understanding of the sacred calendar from Matthias's perspective.
I'll try. Well, yeah, when we talk about calendar, is something that we take for granted most of the times, because we don't relate it with our specific reality and how we can manifest reality. But actually, time is the one that allows us to see matter. So the way in which we organize time is the way in which
Sorry, going back to normal speed.
We can, of course, manifest matter. So in these days, that calendar just became a way to count days, or to just say, okay, another day passed. We don't actually take the power of what it means. And actually, the word calendar, which is calendas, is a period of time to pay taxes in the Roman Empire. I don't know if you know that, but actually every time that we say calendar, we are saying, I have to pay taxes. So, yeah, Roman Empire, really? So, he did it great. So because of that, we just organized the dates according to the moon, just to know when this guy would come and knock the door and say, give me the 10%. So everyone kind of knew that when the moon was about to get full, something was about to be taken from you. So basically we organized the calendas in that way. And we're basically the Romans that shaped the idea of our calendar in order to have an organization for an empire, which was paying taxes, organizing rituals, ceremonies, and stuff. But the reason why we started actually to make something that we actually call cycles, in Atlantean language we call it the cycles of earth, the cycles of fire, the cycles of water. So when we started to organize cycles to understand what was the energy around in order to manifest something, to actually do something physical, not just to calculate moments. So our relationship with the cycles started actually when we started walking in the horizon, like around 3 million years ago, when humans left the forest in Africa and they started to walk around trying to find food after a great moment of hunger. So in that moment, a lot of humans started to get lost and had no idea where to go, where to walk to, maybe deserts. So there was only one way to actually know where you are, which was following the sun or the moon or specific stars. So they saw that some stars were fixed in the sky, so they said, every time if we follow those stars, maybe we won't get lost, even if we don't know where we are. So according to that, they understood the cycles of what time of the year these stars are positioned according to which mountain, which river, which tree. So they started to talk about the cycles of when that star moves to the top of the mountain or to the valley. So that created a cycle, a period of time in which we know where to move, where to head to, when to do something specific. And the cycles of the moon, they also show them that if you follow the moon, you can actually have a very organized time. Like you can actually organize your life. Like.
Okay. I just want to ask you, everybody who feels compelled to answer, please do in the comments. I really want to hear what you have to say. Why would he specify and start to say that paying attention to the moon will help you organize your life? The sun will help give you direction of where to go, and the moon will help you organize your life. Do you guys resonate with that distinction of what the moon and the sun are for? Does it not? Does that sound dumb to you? I really would like to hear what you think.
Everything that happened on this planet was because of the moon. So they started to understand the tides of the ocean, when the water was melting in the mountains, to have it for sowing and so on. So they were following the sun, but the moon was the one telling how life would be. The moon was telling, oh, it's a full moon, so it's a cycle of reproduction, so we can have sex now. And so everyone got crazy because men were fighting for the most fertile, feminine woman that was there. So it created for millions of years this idea that in full moon we get crazy. It was because of reproduction. And so we started to understand that if we follow the moon, we know exactly how life should be on Earth. If we follow the sun, we know exactly how to be guided in our purpose. Where are we heading to is the sun. How we head to is the moon. And the position of the stars would tell us what to do in every place or every moment. So we started to write the cycles, but there's a problem that there's no beginning, no end in these cycles. So it doesn't matter in which continent you live or in which hemisphere, and even though in which latitude. So the position of the stars is completely different. The light of the sun is completely different. The moon, different position. So that meant that for every region, there was a different calendar. And today we created a great, great mistake, which is that for all the world, we use the same calendar designed by a guy in Europe that just wanted to pay taxes. And
hearing him explain it like that, if I'm being honest with you, it just influences me more to learn more about moon and sun cycles, to learn more about astrology and the stars. Especially when you get down right to the point that the reason we follow the calendar we follow today is because they want our money.
that made that the entire world lost the connection with their own potential of creation. Because the way in which in the equinox the light hits the earth in the North Pole or the South Pole is completely different. So you cannot do exactly the same. You cannot celebrate the same things or manifest the same things because the light is not suitable for that. So for every latitude and every parallel, we should have a different calendar. And for every region of the planet, we should have a different calendar. And for every side of the planet, we have a different new year. So why do we have new years? It's basically because we are trying to understand when the cycles ends and when they begin. Actually, the beginning of every new year is in either a solstice or an equinox. So we have 4 main new years in the year, which are related to the position of our planet. And the position of our planet is actually showing the position of our mind. Because even if we have been disconnected, we are magnetical beings. And because we are magnetical, our structure of cells tend to balance to the north magnetical pole. Our blood is red because it has iron in it. So iron, like a compass, follows and organizes itself according to the magnetical north pole. So wherever the magnetical north pole is pointing at, our blood, our head, our heart, we align to that.
Sheesh. All my streams just went down. Is everyone good still? These streams just like rebooted. Let me make sure. We should be good. We're gravy. They keep resetting, bro. They keep resetting, bro.
And because today we have no idea where is the north, and we don't care. So everyone is doing whatever. We are all lost and disconnected from the purpose of our life because we are not aligned with the North Pole, and we don't know where are the precession of the equinoxes, which is our star right now. So because of that, we lost the power of creation. We lost the power of our own being, of our culture, our races, our territories. We've been disconnected from that. So these 4 main new years.
1 second, okay? Just give me a second. Sorry, is it glitching anymore? I went upstairs and my son is trying to play video games upstairs and taking my internet, I think. It's better now? Okay, let's go. Let's keep going.
Years, around those new years, all the cultures were trying to organize themselves. And for example, we started to organize the year beginning in March, in the equinox of March, but mainly because the people in Middle East did it that way. For sure, for South America, it's June. It's the solstice of June. March, we don't care. But for the people in Middle East, was very important because it was the moment to start sowing, to start putting the seeds on the ground. So we needed to bless the land, the soil, with fertilizer. And the fertilizer in that moment was blood. The blood of who? Of the goat. So they put goat blood everywhere, and they said, those stars there, I'll tell.
You should just come over to Kick Vines on Mars. I just dropped the link inside the Twitch chat. I'll pin this one to the top. If you're on YouTube, if you're on Facebook, come over to Kick. I just dropped the link in the chat.
Telling us that we have to put blood on the soil for the seeds to grow better. And we call that the goat, which is Aries. So the stars are not modifying what we are. We are actually modified by our perception of where the stars are located. So astrology is not a star pulling our soul. Astrology is how our soul perceives the stars.
Ooh.
And
that's some fire. Can I just get some fire emotes, bro? You're right, Monica. April Fool's Day was created to steer us away from the new cycle. It's not January 1st. You're right. You're right. You are right. Because that's really when the new year should start, is on the equinox. That's how, I mean, that's really what Let's just repeat what he said.
The stars are not modifying what we are. We are actually modified by our perception of where the stars are located. So astrology is not a star pulling our soul. Astrology is how our soul perceives the stars.
Woo!
And we organized the beginning with Aries just because in the Middle East it was like that. And then we started to celebrate equinox, then solstice, and then equinox, and then solstice. And when the last cycle of solstice, the last solstice before the beginning of the new cycle started, so we, in Europe, they had this celebration that was the return of the sun. So the return of the sun was in the solstice of December.
I'm telling you. The solstice in December is the return of the sun. That's literally the beginning of, like, you know what I'm saying, of the cycles. Like that was like the last celebration. That's what we have as Christmas today, was them celebrating the return of the sun, because the winter solstice is actually when the days are equal and the sun starts to come back. Because, you know, we have this thing where, like, it's no longer actually anymore. I don't think daylight savings is a thing anymore, but the time the sun is out is the longest in the summer. And as the sun starts to show itself less, we get more into winter. And the solstice is literally the last day when the sun starts to come back and show its face more, which that's how they knew that it was the end of the winter.
And in this December, which is the 10th month, Deka, so it's December is the 10th, is the 10th month. So in that moment, what we did was, after those days, we celebrate for 12 days. We have to celebrate that the sun has returned. So during 3 days, since the 22nd, we have 3 days where the sun is going to rise up exactly in the same moment, in the same place. And then on the 25th of December, it starts to go back. So it marks that we begin the longer days again. And so that's why we all celebrated the returning of the sun, or the birth of Christ.
When you're saying we, who are you referring to in the we?
Oh, of all the humans that were looking at the sun. And not their balls.
And just to get the subtlety of what he said, December, like just to see how confused we are. December is the 12th month in our calendar, but it's literally telling us December, 10th month, October, 8th month. It's the 10th
November, which is
like
9th.
Everything is off. Like even the way that we've named the things are actually confusing us the whole time. And there's clues all over the place. The names of the months are actually clues that we're doing this completely backwards.
Oh yeah.
And even the word, I don't know if you guys realize this, the word lunatic. Where does the word lunatic come from? Luna, moon. Right? Like, we know these things. These clues are encoded in our language, but still we just ignore it. And this is a part of empire to get us off of the sacred calendar, to take us out of our power and our potentiation, to create the right rituals, to harness our own power, to have the ability to manifest. All of these things are actually working against us in this empirical calendar, because they don't care about that. They just want us to pay taxes. Honestly, it's like follow
Julius
the money.
Caesar and Augustus Caesar.
Right.
Created in July and August. Which they said, I want my month.
Yeah.
And I don't want for it to be 30 days. I want to be 31 because I want to be bigger than the other one. So
That's why we're having this summit in October. Oh, you guys didn't know that? Oh, sorry. Yeah, it's October.
Yeah. So we tried.
I got to ask you, do you and can you or will you just take a second and just really think about how long empires have been trying to take away our power? They've been trying to derail us from a sacred path, from a path of our history, of how all of our historic ancestors were just obsessed with the earth, and they lived in the nature, and they were part of their environment. They were like part of earth, not separate, like as we see today. Humans as a whole behave as if we are separate from this thing that we live in. But even that one simple act of changing the calendar and forcing everybody to stop relying on the stars, the sun, and the moon was a huge like attack on our souls, on the way that we're supposed to live on this planet. And it just doesn't fit right with me when it gets to the point where like the word we use today to keep track, it all relates to us paying taxes. So it's always just been about the money for all the empires. They never actually gave a fuck about any of the citizens. It's just always been about money since the beginning of recorded time, before before the Roman Catholic Church and everything changed on planet Earth. Just since the very beginning, when the first Bible was written, it's just from the very beginning, all they really cared about was making sure that we paid them our money. It seems really fucked up.
We try to organize everything related to every aster or with every star, and this, for example, that's why we all celebrate the New Year now, not in an equinox or solstice. We celebrate it after the Roman party. 12 days of party after the sun return is January 1st. So it was just a party that took a long way of Baco, who was drinking, fucking, dancing, that's it. So when they said, maybe we have to start working again, that's the first year. That's the first day of the year. And they call it January because it was the god Janus, which is the god of time. Had two faces, one looking backwards, the other one looking forward. So he said, the god of Janus, January, is the god that tells, okay, now we can start again, and we created a new year. But now, in the whole world, mainly, we are celebrating the new year in a moment of the end of an orgy. So it's like, what are we doing? It's not related to anything in the skies or anything. So we celebrate something because just a Roman said that. So that's why when we lost this connection, we also started to mix cultures and traditions. And today, for example, we have this moon day, which is Monday, Tuesday, which is actually the day of Mars, which is but it's a name from the Norse tradition. Wednesday is also a name from the Norse tradition. Tuesday is Thor's day, the day of Thor.
Yeah, Wednesday is Woden's day, Odin's day.
Woden's day, Woden, yeah, Wodan, which is the father. So Friday is the day of Freya. So it's Norse. So suddenly we mixed the Viking tradition and we created the days for each one of the gods. And we today celebrate the days, and the Romans said Saturn as Saturday. So we celebrated Saturn, and in Sunday we celebrate the sun. So we have all the pagan of Europe all together mixed and not knowing why. And each one of those days were specifically named like that because there was a purpose of celebration in a ritual to awaken a potential of each one of those gods or stars. And the way we organized it today, it was because of the Middle East, again, creating the days according to the celebration of God. So we have in every, or for example, hour comes from the word Horus. And Horus is Horus, the god of the sun in Egypt. So Horus is the one that marks where the sun is. Horus is there, Horus is there, Horus is there, Horus is there. So it's 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. So it's the same thing. So all the time is organized in a concept that is divine to tell us what to do at which moment, because the energy is suitable for you to do specifically something at that time.
Have you ever thought about it like this? Who do I still got up over in here? It's pretty insane if you really break it down like that, that every single aspect of our entire human experience right now is all based on astrological things. It's kind of weird to think about that a majority of the days of the week that we know is Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, all that stuff is either a Norse god, which is like a Viking god, or a moon, or a sun, or Saturn. Seems crazy, right? Seems crazy. It seems too coincidental. It just seems too connected, bro. You know? It's weird. I can feel the truth when he talks.
And that's why the ancient ones lived through rituals all the time. They did circles, trinities, they created patterns and put intentions in every day to download that information into us. Because now, one thing is the mind, which is the perception of today is the day of the moon, so we have to celebrate something related to the moon. But in the other hand is the moon physically moves our blood, moves the cycles of life in the feminine body mainly. It controls the gravity of our planet. It pulls all the water of the oceans towards one direction or the other. So this is such a powerful force that when the moon is there, it moves us completely. So if you don't set your mind, your heart, and your intention and your action according to what is happening with the moon in that moment, so you are losing the potential that power has on you. So instead of using the power, you are used by the power. So it's like, I won't move, but the moon comes and gives you a slap, and you have to move anyway, but you will be like a slave of their gravity instead of using the gravity.
Bars. Bro, that's bars. Because that's really what happens. It really is. You either acknowledge, learn, and use the power, or the power is going to be used against you. Because it's going to happen anyways. It seems just like a good idea to have an understanding and go with the flow instead of react to what the flow does. You know?
So we lost the power when they said that God was invisible. So you cannot see it, so you cannot use it.
Sorry, got to stop it again. We lost the power when they told us that God is invisible.
And don't follow the sun, don't follow the moon, don't follow the stars, because that's pagan. So that created a disconnection from the reality that took the power that we have in order to manifest or create or do anything. And that loss of connectivity with something very simple, which is knowing which hour it is, where the sun sets, where it rises, that gives us the power of God. That gives us the power of creation. And to pay attention to these calendars and knowing how to use it, you will realize, as I said before, there is no specific way or unique way to use a calendar. We have to find our own.
Isn't that so true? Dude, take away everything he's just talking about, bro. There is no specific way. You have to do it on your own. You know, some people use tarot cards. Some people journal. Some people, you know, they have all sorts of different rituals or practices that they use to harness energy and intention. There's no correct way to do it at all. Just got to do it and have intention. And when you have that intention, make sure you direct all of your attention at your intention.
Have to find our own way to use it according to in which latitude and longitude we are in the planet. And according to that, you can kind of be in a tribe of creation. That's why cultures were created, because of basically that, because of basically saying, okay, we got together and we will all celebrate specifically one day that put us all together, because it's more powerful to use the gravity of the movement of the stars and the planet if we are all together, because only one person cannot have that power. You need a group of people to create more magnetism, so it creates more power. So that's why the tribes, the cultures were created around that idea. And we call these gatherings ceremonies. I don't know if you know, but ceremonies comes from the word cereal, which means cereal. So every time that we do a ceremony is basically because we want to share cereals. Because we were harvesting or sowing. So what we did when we got together was sharing food. So we were doing a ceremony, which is to put all the seeds together as one. Ceremony. Cereal monos. So it's one cereal for all of us. Mainly is that. So a ceremony basically would be sharing food. And dance because we are sharing. And pray because we want more cereals. So,
what was your favorite cereal growing up, Matthias?
In this life?
Yeah. Nobody's gonna know your cereals from 9,000 years ago. Yeah. What was your favorite cereal?
I don't know. In Argentina, we don't have that many.
You know, what,
Here in the supermarket, it's like, what the fuck are you doing?
But you didn't have like a Raisin Bran or like a Fruit Loops or like a...
Yeah, but I think I didn't.
You didn't like any cereals?
No, just bread.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Honey Bunches of Oats.
All right, then I got to ask too, what's your favorite cereal, bro? You guys be fucking up cereals? I need to see some of y'all guys' favorite cereals before I say mine. Because mine's not the answer you probably expect. You probably don't expect it. I'll give you top three, because I can't really rate them better than everybody and on top of each other, because I like them all. All right. Ready, set, go. Cereal. Either now or in the comments later. I like, Cinnamon Life. That's a goat. I like the Honey Bunches of Oats that has the yogurt clusters. And I like, it's a tie. Because I do fuck up Raisin Bran. I like grain type cereals because I don't like to eat fucking tons and tons of sugar and like weird dyes and stuff. When I was a kid, it was Fruity Pebbles, bro. It was Fruity Pebbles as a kid. I'll fuck up a whole bowl of Fruity Pebbles. Saturday morning, use my mom's salad bowl for Fruity Pebbles, dude.
Those were pretty good. Our whole cereal story, this is a completely unimportant thing. Our whole cereal story is also completely wild and fucked up when you actually study like Kellogg and what he was actually trying to do. And he was trying to create foods that would actually drop people out of their eros, right? So because he had this war against sexuality and was doing all kinds of weird fucking things like giving young men enemas and trying to create cereals that would make them impotent in the thing. Like the whole history of our cereal is fucked.
Fact check. I know this to be true. But I just wanted to fact check for all of you guys. Is it true that Kellogg, the creator of Kellogg's, at one point had what people say potentially a war on sexuality and tried to create cereals, one, to replace the healthy foods that we should eat for breakfast if we eat breakfast, but also to basically chemically give a vasectomy to the men so that they wouldn't reproduce?
John Harvey Kellogg, the co-creator of Kellogg's cereals, held strong beliefs about sexual abstinence and thought that masturbation and sexual activity could harm physical and mental health. He advocated for bland diets, believing that foods like cornflakes would reduce sexual urges. However, the claim that he intended cereal...
And then, of course, all of the corn syrup and everything else that's leading to all of this obesity that we see, childhood obesity, all of this thing, like cereals, the way that we've corrupted even that, and, you know, going back to the ancient roots, Ceres, the goddess of the grain, of the harvest, and now we have cereal, which is this completely degraded form that was actually manipulated to be degraded. Cornflakes were designed to actually sap a person's eros. And this whole thing, like, so you trace all of these different things and you see how far off course we've actually gotten from, from the days to the months to the disconnection with all of the power that's available.
So question, are we observing reality as it is at this specific time because all the way back to the calendar, they destroyed and took away our power that we were able to harness based off of everything astrological around us, the sun, the moon, and the stars, that there is specific powers that's harnessed during certain moon phases. There is specific powers when certain constellations are moving across our sky, that they have removed our divinity, what potentially the cultures that were so in tune with energy and vibration in their spirit and soul were able to build the pyramids and have this complex understanding of astrology before there was ever even satellites, that they didn't want humans to be like that anymore. They didn't want humans to be able to have their own inner power, their own ability to harness specific energies about the universe and the 3D fractal light matrix that we live in to be able to become the best human possible. And just like I'm pretty sure someone said in the comments about living forever, I mean, that's why all of our historic people from like scripture to, Moses and Noah and all these people lived for hundreds and hundreds of years. I truly believe it was because potentially they had an understanding of how this energetic field we live in actually works alongside the earth that we live on, that we are a part of, not separate from, as well as the stars, the sun, and the moon. Can I get some poop emojis in the chat if you resonate?
In the cosmos. So now is the time to start to reclaim sacred calendar, to start to pay attention to what has been done so we can undo what has been done to create a new story and new holidays too. I mean, the commodification of Christmas, which then took the place of this, Saturnalia, this Bacchanalia, that was this wild orgiastic end of the year, celebration, and how that's been commodified and then manipulated. It's invitation that's right there waiting for us to reclaim ritual, calendar, ceremony, all the way down to our food, all the way down to how we gather, all the way down to, reconnecting us to a remembrance of how powerful we actually are. And that's what, I think is the invitation for now, especially when we can look out at the world and feel wildly disempowered. Well, the world has been intentionally making us wildly disempowered. So how do we get back into our power? And that's...
Please put your answer in the chat or in the comments. How do we get back to our power? This is going to be a little bit longer of an explanation because I'm going to give you my interpretation of how do we get back to our power. I really think the first thing is awareness. Because at a certain level of awareness, once the awareness starts, there has to be inevitably the next step is interest, which interest would inspire you to question and to learn, which then leads to understanding and realization, which then just feeds the interest and the desire to learn because you are understood and you're having realizations about things that are happening within you. It all starts with awareness, but you can't really truly be aware unless you are present. You have to be able to actually enter the present moment for long periods of time to then be aware of what happens during those moments of presence. Because our minds, I feel tremendously, for majority of people, even me, struggle with trying to predict the future or reliving the past. Always super critical amongst and towards ourselves because we worry about and replay the past, or we stress and have anxiety about futures we've created inside of our own imagination. And sometimes those futures that we've created try to predict and then also control what happens. We lose our ability to really sit in the present moment and actually be here, present, aware, awake, receptive. Maybe that's why I preach so much about, breath work and just paying attention and being aware and grounding. And it's because I truly believe that's where it all starts. It doesn't start with you going down a rabbit hole to find out that Jeffrey Epstein worked for Mossad, allegedly. It doesn't start by always putting off everything you tell yourself that you're going to do on Monday or you're going to do next week. And then when it comes next week, you find another excuse to put it off, but promise yourself again, and then break a promise to yourself repeatedly over and over and over again. So of course you don't trust yourself. You just have to start paying attention. Return to the breath. We have this thing that our bodies just automatically breathe. If you don't think about it, your body just breathes because that's what's necessary to survive. If you stop breathing, the very first thing you lose isn't your heartbeat. It's not the signal in your brain. It's consciousness. Your brain can still function and your heart can still beat when you're unconscious. So what are you actually breathing? Is this air or is this consciousness? And you understand this connection to consciousness on such a deeper level if you've done any sort of breath work. It's the most profound experience you can induce onto your own conscious self is to do breath work, like specifically like DMT secreting breath work, where it activates your pineal gland. And you potentially during these breathwork experiences can have a full-fledged psychedelic dimethyltryptamine breakthrough just from breathing. It's because we're breathing in consciousness. We have just taken away the power of what that actually is, just like he was talking about with the calendars and the days and the moon cycles and all of these things. They completely re-represent what we are actually breathing. We need it to live. Realistically, the ability to breathe is like really the last commodity that hasn't been monopolized. They've monopolized air in other ways. They've monopolized water. Seems as if that's all the way back down to calendar. That's what they want is your fucking money. That's why everything is a subscription nowadays. That's why everything costs so much more. It's because it's all to take away your power because we've been brainwashed to believe that we have to have the biggest number in our account before we move on to the next phase of existence. It's like immediately when you're born, you watch all the other humans just do whatever it takes because they're fighting for the same game that's been programmed into everyone, that your life and how happy you can be and your worth and what you leave behind and your legacy is all determined on how many coins you get in this fucking place. Who has the most money? Billionaires, trillionaires. You know?
The second part of this conversation is, all right, now let's pay attention to the real calendar. Let's pay attention to the real use and then reclaim holidays, reclaim sacred time, and put it back on our time. So
do you know what's something that me and my wife did? You know what's something that I have done for myself? Is I have decided what, when, how, and why I celebrate any sort of holiday. They're all based off of profits. That's why the biggest holidays allegedly all come quarterly. Every 3 months, there's a big holiday where everyone is promoting the holiday. It's the freaking 4th of July, fucking Labor Day, Halloween, Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, Valentine's Day. There are all these holidays that seem to be that the whole entire matrix decides that they are going to tell us that it's time to buy things and go hang out with your friends or give the gifts to people. What the fuck? So to be honest with this winter solstice stuff, I don't no longer celebrate Christmas. Sure, we do put up Christmas tree. We do actually do 12 days of presents, just like he was talking about. Kind of a mix of Yule and like winter solstice, removed the Christian aspect out of it. And actually just like celebrate the time and have a feast and do rituals of reflection and refinement. Really every day trying to do something different during that period of time, just like when he was talking about. Because I no longer am going to allow the Matrix to tell me when it's time to celebrate, when I have to give people gifts, when I have to show the one person I say I love that I love them. Valentine's Day, why do I have to fucking buy something for my wife on Valentine's Day if she knows in her heart without a shadow of a doubt that I love her every day? Because I take her and do things nice for her. I take her on dates. I appreciate her. I show her that she means something to me, because love is a verb. It's not a noun. Love is something you do. You do things that is love. It's not an adjective. It's not how you describe something. It's an action word. You have to physically do or sacrifice something within yourself for love to even be love. And both are necessary. You have to give love, and then you have to sacrifice for love. Do you resonate with that?
We can have the power back and take the power back from empire. If we don't take the power back from empire, empire is going to continue to wield power in the horrific ways that we see every day, in the horrific ways that we don't see. You know, the insidious ways that it's just subtly taking us further and further from our natural innate potency.
Yeah, it's basically in history, whoever controlled the cereals controlled the ceremonies. And that's why when there was an administrator of agriculture and someone that controlled everything, all the seats that we had, so they said how the ceremony would work. And they started to create monotheisms. They started to say the right way to do a ritual. And this took the power of the people and gave it to just a few people that actually administrated the agriculture, which were the feuds, the kings, the ones that were owners of the power of food. And that's what took the power from everyone.
It's really interesting to hear it that way. Once they took control and power over the food, that's how they could determine how you were able to celebrate these ceremonies based off of the food that they allowed you to grow or that you could afford to grow. It's interesting. Because in all actuality, my spiritual practices could look completely different than your spiritual practices, and not at all mean that yours aren't more powerful than mine. Even though I perceive mine to be powerful and I'm consistently working on them, you might be doing the same thing, but completely different things. There is no rules to ritual. Because why? Where your attention goes, energy flows. Not where my attention goes, energy flows for you. If we're entangled with superposition, absolutely. The potential of collective healing and all of that stuff is 100% real. But nobody has more power over your particles than you. Nobody has more power over the particles of your lived experience than you, because your attention changes everything. Like I said it many, many times, keep your attention on your intention. If you've been down this spiritual path and you're not someone who is potentially just learning these phrases, the word intention carries a lot of weight, specifically when you talk about what you want and how you want things to go and how the things you're trying to manifest and attract to you. Your intention is your vibration, because your intention doesn't come from your words. It doesn't come from your thoughts. Your intention comes from your soul, bro. Like your being, all the life force. That's why when you align and are coherent with the intention you have inside of yourself that aligns with your divine purpose, the reason why you came here, that's why you're so magnetized towards it. That's why you could probably overwork yourself and never rest and just keep going and keep grinding and just keep doing it, because you are aligned and coherent with what your intention and your purpose are. You are divine, bro. The Matrix has been structured specifically to take away your power, bro. Your power. And there's no one else's power that's as powerful and as potent as your power, and they can all collectively all exist, and there's never ever a comparison because of the ways and the hermetic principles of polarity. They're just different spectrums. It's all on the same spectrum. It's all the same thing at different degrees and dimensions, because we all perceive everything differently. Perception is subjective. Every single person heard me throughout this whole live stream say the same exact words, but everyone perceived it different. Everyone heard specific words, frequencies, and vibes differently based off of your energetic and spiritual blueprint. But what do I know? I'm just some weird ass hippie that lives in Utah, bro.
And now, I mean, and think about that now. Think about like, all right, we understand these fiefdoms and these serfdoms where rulers, you know, put people to work. I mean, think of any Robin Hood story. They're just driving people from.
Real quick, we are close to that time. So if you're on any of these other platforms, make sure you head over to Kick. You got 5 minutes to get over to Kick before I'm going to shut down Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. We're going to chill and decompress on Kick. I hope to see you there. Please, if you do come over to Kick, you just put something in the comments, chat something just so I'm trying to get 100 individual people to comment something in 30 days. If you see me, I'm out here grinding, you know, comment something that's completely free, bro. Make sure that if you're seeing this video later on YouTube, because if you ever miss a live stream, the live stream will be deleted off of YouTube, but a standalone YouTube video of the whole stream in its entirety with a cool thumbnail and all that shit, that will be posted on the YouTube. So make sure you hit the like, subscribe button to the video. I appreciate you if you see it. Let's just keep going for about this 5 more minutes and finish out these two gentlemen, Aubrey Marcus and Matthias De Stefano's last little thought, and then we'll be on Kick.
More grain and more taxes and all of that. We say, yes, look, we've evolved so much from those days of, you know, serfdom and the days where the rulers controlled people, conscripted them to battle, taxed them, would kill them if they didn't. And then now look at what Monsanto does. Controls all the seeds, modifies them, puts people in debt, forces them to use their particular brand of seeds, and all of the corruption. That's just another enforced serfdom upon so many people in the world, including, you know, farmers in our own country. You know, so these patterns have just changed their name. Instead of a king or a lord, and instead of your vassals or your serfs, it's now corporations like Monsanto, and then it's still call them farmers, but the farmers are beholden to their feudal lord, you know, the Lord Monsanto. And that's not the fucking Lord that we want controlling our food, which gives us our life force energy, our vital life force energy. And even the way that we've then, and again, this is another kind of stretch, but if you look at the Rosicrucian model, there's this idea that comes from Ahriman, and Ahriman is this force that wants to quantify everything. So it wants to just measure everything, and everything is equivalent once it's quantified. So you just measure carbohydrate, fat, protein, you measure all of these different things, you break it all down. And so much of our diet and nutrition is based upon this Ahrimanic materialist reductionist of what you're having. And so some people still say, you'll still see people say, a calorie is just a calorie. No, it's fucking not. It's not. It's not the same. A calorie from an avocado is not the same as a calorie from a cornflake. It's just not. Right? But we've tried to reduce everything, and what we've lost is what is the vital life force energy of the hands that sowed those seeds into the ground, that harvested them, that prayed over the land. You know, what is the vital life force energy of the plants? This is something also that I find fault with even somebody like Paul Saladino. He will look at the anti-nutrients and the nutrients in a piece of kale. Sure, it's not true, but it's also missing the point. How much vital life force are in these green and verdant plants that you can't measure? You can't measure that organic, biodynamic, you know, plants that you put in your body, and we feel it when we have them. We know that's not just, the anti-nutrients are fucking us up. Actually, you have one of those rich salads that somebody's cultivated from their garden. You feel different. And yeah, there's some micronutrients in there, there's some anti-nutrients in there, sure. There's some carbohydrate in there, there's some fiber in there, sure, all that's true. And what is the vital life force energy? Same with meat. You can measure the difference between a grass-fed cow and a regular cow and say, grass-fed cows, it has more CLA. And CLA is healthy for you, so that's the reason why you should have grass-fed cows. Yeah, and also living a life in torture and being an animal that's been taken out of the natural order of their life, fed something that they would never eat, and then you're consuming that vital life force from that animal. It's different, and you can't measure it. You can only experience it. So this revolution of how we take our power back extends into every different category, and you'll see Empire still trying to prop up these archaic, manipulative ideas about food. You know, there was a recent food pyramid that said that Fruit Loops were better for you than fucking eggs. Like legitimately. And then there's also been discovered they're paying dietary influencers to start speaking this nonsense. Like the corruption that goes into every single category, from our water and all of the different things that we put in our water supply to all the different things that we try to prop up as good food versus bad food. I mean, the corruption has become universal as empire has seeped deeper and deeper into culture across the board.
All right, guys. We're switching over to Kick only. The link is pinned to the top of your chat, Facebook. We're going to drop Twitch right now. Facebook, you've got like 3 minutes to come over. Twitch is gone. The link to Kick is in the chat.